Hello and welcome to Shareware, episode 52. I'm Josh, and I'm joined by Brett,
the Big B,
and Greyson.
Greyson.
Each host brings their own topic, and every episode ends with a game club where you all play along. This week's game club is Splinter Cell Blacklist, in which we've played through the Guantanamo Bay Detention Facility. Timestamps for each of the segments can be found in the show notes. And what might those segments be, gentlemen?
I'm going to be talking about Total War Warhammer.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about Bloodborne.
Okay. I'm going to be talking about the newly released update to Good Old Games, or I guess it's not Good Old Games anymore, is it? They just changed it to GOG, because they're not all old games. GOG Galaxy rolls right off the tongue.
Well, that's not terrible.
I've always found it just a little cumbersome to say.
GOG Galaxy.
Model G is pretty tough.
That's how I do.
It's hard to clearly denotate that there are two G's in GOG when you're saying GOG Galaxy.
Maybe it's GOG.
Go Galaxy?
Oh shit, it's just as bad.
It's just as bad, yeah. GOG Galaxy.
Good.
But anyway, GOG Galaxy is GOG's basically Steam competitor.
GOG is owned by CD Projekt Red, right?
That is correct. Or at least they're owned by the same parent company. I don't remember exactly how it works out, but
I think it's a parent company one.
But it all comes down to the same place.
All the money goes into The Witcher.
Yep. This is Geralt's digital distribution service, essentially.
I mean, now it's Cyberpunk 2020.
And
Good Galaxy.
yeah, so and it's a lot more on par with Steam now. Having hit version 1.2, like I said, it's out of beta. They put in a ton of customization things so you can turn off and on individual features that you don't care about. They added universal cloud saves, a new chat system, FPS counter, screenshot capturing, in-game overlay, which they also put on Shift Tab. They didn't do the Uplay and
Shift F12.
Yeah, they're not joining the Shift function key club. They're
Which
going
is good
head to
because
head.
that was always
I think
irritating.
it's a good sign because it means they'll either never have games released on Steam that use the overlay, or they'll just keep them separate.
Well, it seems like they're very cognizant of the fact that people aren't going to immediately abandon Steam for this. Like, basically every feature that they've added is specifically for people who are going to be using this in addition to Steam, or at least have a bunch of friends who are using Steam, because they're also ensuring that like no multiplayer game you buy on GOG will be incompatible with Steam multiplayer. Like, all of that matchmaking, that kind of thing will work just fine. But it's got some stuff on top of what Steam would have, like achievement rarity, which is one thing I really like that PlayStation does. Is like tells you the chances of people getting these achievements.
I don't know if this is just Nier Automata, but I've been playing Nier Automata on PC as well, and it has been doing that for me. Whenever I get an achievement, it pops up achievement rarity, and I don't know if that's what the game is doing.
I think
or
that's a
what
game
Steam's
side
doing.
thing, because
So Nier Automata is the forerunner for GOG Galaxy.
yeah, because Automata does a bunch of weird stuff with achievements. Like, you can buy the achievements with currency and stuff.
I guess I would kind of call that spoilers.
Oh, okay. Spoilers.
Bleep it out.
But yeah, they're kind of pushing boundaries, I guess, if you could go that far in regards to achievements. But anyway, basically GOG Galaxy is now in the ballpark of an actual Steam or Origin and that kind of thing, as opposed to where it was basically just kind of like the Blizzard launcher for a while. Can't be bare bones.
I think it had helpful download ways to download or something. That's what I remember from it.
Yeah, which
I only have The Witcher on it. Witcher 3. That's the only game.
Yeah, I've got like 8 games on GOG, but it's probably something that I will invest into more, because their sales have been pretty competitive, and now there are fewer and fewer reasons to not want to get the Galaxy interface and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they also have sales on games that you don't expect, rather than Steam, where it's like
The same 50 things over and over again.
Yeah, which has gotten pretty tiresome.
Yeah. Which is kind of... Grayson, did you have something you were trying to say?
Not yet, no.
Okay. This is kind of what I wanted to get at. I wanted to ask you guys about, which is, how important is it to you that there is like a potent competitor in this space with Steam and with Valve? Because I personally have been feeling the stagnancy for the last like 3 or 4 years.
Valve hasn't been doing shit lately.
Yeah, like they're still updating Dota 2. They're still kind of updating CS:GO from what I understand, even though that it seems like it's mostly like token stuff for like cosmetics at most.
They do holiday events for Team Fortress, and that's about it.
Yeah, like that is
Are those
basically
the same ones that they've already had?
No,
or
they always add a new mechanic. So,
Okay.
like 2 years ago, it was like, here's a spell book for Halloween. You can cast spells.
Yeah, but by and large, it's like Skeleton Crew on that.
Yeah.
And then everybody else at Valve seems to be working on VR. Like, I don't know what else they could be doing right now.
Half-Life 3, whatever. Who gives a fuck about Half-Life 3 anymore, I guess?
They're gonna make some kind of sequel to that The Lost Vikings by Blizzard.
That would be a weird exchange, especially because the Lost Vikings are in Heroes of the Storm right now, so they're still actively using that license. But yeah, and I forgot to mention the coolest aspects of GOG Galaxy, which is the lack of DRM. Like, everything you're getting on GOG, like, there's no DRM, you can copy and paste these files as much as you want, you can burn them to disks, and then you can install them onto another computer that's never been connected to the internet, and it'll work just fine.
You can get a Palm Pilot, jack it right in.
Yeah, you can play all these on your Nokia.
One of these really nice things about GOG Galaxy is, you know when you get like the deluxe edition on Steam and it's like, oh, you get the art book, and then you're like, well, where's the art book? And it's just in like the game files.
Yeah.
On GOG Galaxy, you can download that separate, and it's easy to find.
They put it like in the front end interface and
Yeah,
stuff.
like,
that's nice.
It's like with the, hey, here's all the DLC you have.
Yeah, it just feels like there's a better attention to detail with GOG. Like, especially with stuff like them letting you opt out of updates and roll back to previous patches.
Yeah, that's
like,
awesome.
They force developers, or I mean, I'm sure it's probably not even on the developers' end, it's probably just on their server end, but like, the last 5 or 10 or whatever it is patches of any given game, you can always jump back to them if you don't like the current version.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Or like
if it's a game that's only online, that doesn't do anything, but for 95% of games, like, patches can break shit, so it's nice to have that option.
Especially with their like core market of those older games.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play like version 1.0 Command and Conquer again, you could do that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That could be cool.
Like Euro Truck Simulator, the multiplayer only patch only works on one patch.
Okay.
So like you
It's
have to.
not the current one?
No, it's not. It's like a year back.
Okay.
So you have to roll that back, and on Steam, it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, on Steam you have to like go into like opt into beta and shit like that. Like you have to go into like this weird back end thing, and like then they don't even always have the option. Whereas here it's ubiquitous. It's a baked in feature.
Yeah, the Euro Truck devs were thankfully kind enough to actually provide that patch on Steam. Come to think of it, I didn't have to do anything. I thought I did.
Still though, like it's work they have to do on Steam, whereas it's a latent thing.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Also, the interface is just a little bit snappier.
Yeah, it's definitely more responsive. I mean, like, isn't everything in the Steam interface like still based on like Internet Explorer 7 or something like that? Like, deep down.
I'm not even sure it's that far in 7.
Yeah, like it's.
I mean, it came out in like 2001, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how much like old code is still sitting around in that thing from like literally the first version back when it was just like a green and gray mess.
So fucking bad back then.
Yeah,
people fucking hated Steam.
Yeah,
it's so weird to see that like it used to be like a joke, and now people go to Steam. It's amazing.
Well, I feel like we're kind of like coming back around to the other side of that hump. Like I feel like 3 years ago or 5 years ago, like. That would 100% be the ubiquitous reaction, but I think people are kind of starting to turn on it.
It's just nothing's changed in it for so long. Like in the last 4 years, I think they've added like ways to sort your friends.
There's also you can play in-game music now, so.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but it's sorted by game, so if I accidentally start that, it's just awesome nuts.
Like the one thing I can think of that has been kind of nice in the last couple of years that Steam has implemented is like slightly more refined tools for filtering out what they advertise to you on the front page. Like if you don't want to look at early access games, you can uncheck early access games.
Oh, really? That would be good.
That should have been there like from the moment they added early access, so it's kind of sad for me to have to say that like, yeah, thanks, you finally put that in.
Yeah. Are we out of the early access era? Because I have not been seeing too many obvious fucking irritating garbage games on early access.
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't even really look at the Steam store page anymore. Like,
Yeah, neither do
my
I.
Steam is always set to my library now, which, like, that kind of says a lot, because for the longest time, my left monitor was always the Steam front page. The store.
Yeah, just in case there's some cool sale, but now there are no cool sales. It's just like, you want Just Cause 3, 80% off, you already bought it? Okay.
With the addition of refunds, the sales aren't as deep now.
Yeah.
Like, there aren't flash sales, so it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, the flash sales are like what I got into.
But, back to good old games.
Mm-hmm.
If they added some kind of service to, like, reboot servers of older games, like the Westwood servers for Command & Conquer are dead. And while good old games does not have Command & Conquer, something along those lines, like
if they had their own private Game Ranger-esque thing.
yes, like some kind of Call of Duty 2 servers.
It would be nice for them to throw in some kind of complimentary service like that, but I mean, that is the nice thing about the fact that they're entirely hands-on with the content once you've purchased it, is like, you can, like, the player base can do all that stuff, and they're not going to crack down on it in any meaningful way.
Besides, like, we say throw in, but that is probably a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because you have to match all the server architecture and all that.
Yeah, CDPR doesn't make any concurrent multiplayer games, so, like, there's no reason to believe that anyone at that company is, like, specialized necessarily in designing, like, matchmaking interfaces or even, like, server browsing and that kind of thing.
Though that would be a good way to test the waters on them making concurrent multiplayer games. Like, that would be a good thing to put some interns on or something to see if they could hash that all together.
Yeah, and
So
I'm sure they're doing pretty okay. Like, I don't think there's any metric by which Witcher 3 wasn't highly successful. And, like, I see, it's anecdotal, but I see more and more, once in a while, references to GOG Galaxy and that kind of thing. So, like, I feel like they're kind of poised to be in a position like where Valve was 10 years ago, where they kind of, like, sidestepped into this new trajectory of, like, offering really good services and a good marketplace and that kind of thing.
And their tech support is better than Steam's.
Yeah, that goes
I'm saying that without even checking any of the stats at all, because Steam's tech support is a fucking abortion.
Yeah, Origin has better support than them.
Steam now, they make their money on that product moving around. Like, they take the tax when you sell a trading card. Like the Valve tax, you sell a trading card for 9 cents, they get a penny. So I think that's what they've been doing, is they're like, we can make money on taxes.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how much of their money, how much of their income comes from, like, taking nickels and dimes here and there on stuff like that.
Probably like 2 or 3%, which is significant.
It's significant considering the amount of effort it takes for them to implement that stuff, which is literally just, like, I mean, there's probably a little bit of back-end work when they first implemented the systems, but now it's just like, okay, developer, give us 5 JPEGs and we'll make 5 trading cards for your game, and then we're both just going to take a tiny cut off of this shit every time that they get exchanged.
We're just going to make, like, several $1,000s off this over the span of your game if it's popular.
And that's like a huge thing for the Dota team too, I'm sure. Because every Dota item that sells, there's the Valve cut and then there's the Dota cut.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing is, as someone who doesn't like Dota, that's kind of the one thing that Valve really does now. So Valve has completely fallen from my good graces. Like, I just don't care for them at all anymore.
Yeah, and, like, the amount of people working at Valve that are, like, actually focused on Dota is so small that it's not even characteristic of, like, the company ethos anymore. Which, like, who could even say what it is, because they are, like, so shady about everything these
I wonder
days.
if they just sit there and they just go, we made Half-Life 2. Like, maybe that's just their lives.
They're probably just sitting there going, like, we need to work on the Vive 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, do you two see yourself using GOG Galaxy anytime in the near future, and, like, paying attention to sales and that kind of thing on their interface?
I mean, more than like, the thing is, I have to admit that Steam is comfortable to use.
It's true.
Like, GOG Galaxy is pretty hefty on the memory.
It's the Google Plus of video game marketplaces.
They did mention having like performance optimizations in this patch, so I'd be interested to see how that holds up compared to your previous experience.
It's taking like 150 to 200 megs.
Okay, and they also put in like CPU sleep modes and stuff. Like they basically want to make it so that the overhead is extremely small when you're not actively using it.
Okay.
I'd be interested to see if that is still the case for you after this patch.
I'd be a fan of that. And the thing is, I don't actually know how much Steam really uses, because I believe that it does the same thing that every other annoying program in the world does, where it'll use like, 300 megs, but it'll be split up in like 8 different processes, which I don't like.
Yeah.
I think I'll start using Galaxy more. I look at it every time it opens. I have it set to open on startup, but it only opens on startup maybe 1 in 10 times.
Oh, that's a good sign.
I specifically do not have it set to open on startup, and I'm probably going to change that so that I can just kind of get in the habit of looking at it, because I like the directions they're taking, and I like that they're staying like firm on their approach to digital rights and that kind of thing. Like, that's something that is increasingly becoming of interest to me as we're seeing like net neutrality and that kind of thing slowly crumble away. Like having tangible data that you can say like, this is mine. I can do whatever the fuck I want with this and nobody gives a shit. Like that is becoming increasingly appealing as we get more and more dystopian.
Yep. Like the thing is, dystopia, like it always seemed like it would be sudden and cool. And this is just kind of like...
It's a slow slide.
Yeah, it's like the scene in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith where Padme is watching the Emperor get elected and she's like, Peach dies with thunderous applause. It's like that, but even less sudden and more boring and more politics.
Well, you haven't been in dystopia, right? You've been more just in like Lovecraftian apocalypse.
It's kind of a shithole.
Yeah, just the bad part of town, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about it?
I've been playing Bloodborne. The Jason Bourne sequel that never was.
You do have no memory at the beginning of the game, so it checks out.
That's true. I'm actually not that... I'm not super far into it. I've been told that where I'm at in the game right now is when it actually starts to pick up in difficulty. I just beat the Witch of Ham, whatever. The witch in
the hut?
Yeah, the witch's hut, and she's like invisible and she's summoned things.
Yeah, I remember that.
So this is the Darkest Dungeon Dark Souls spin-off, right?
What?
Bloodborne.
What the fuck are you talking
I don't
about?
even know what joke you're trying to make right
Darkest Dungeon. They're thematically similar.
I mean, sure, but Darkest Dungeon came out later.
You guys are no fun.
You're no funny. Right, so yeah, I'm at the witch fight. Now that we're over that weird hump. So I have been having actually significantly more fun with this game than I have with the other Dark Souls. Like, I'm coming to the conclusion that I may not actually like Dark Souls. Like, I think I just play it because it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not like... I don't, like, sit down, except for the first time, because the first time is always like, yeah, it's new. Yeah, I don't really sit down and go, I'm about to have fun. I'm just like, I wonder how far I can get.
Yeah.
You know, it's... When you have so little to do in your life, as I do, you tend to test yourself in different ways. And Dark Souls is kind of how I prove to myself that I'm still a thinking human being. But with Bloodborne, I've actually been having a lot of fun. And I think that it's because of the different design philosophy they take with Bloodborne. Like, Dark Souls, it has a heavy emphasis on, you know, doing the perfect run. Like, not making mistakes, not fucking up, and, you know, just, like, being methodical. Bloodborne, it has that to an extent, enough so that it would definitely... it would take people off guard if they hadn't played a Souls game before. But in comparison to the Souls games, it is actually, I don't know if I want to say forgiving, but it expects very different things out of you. I would say the difficulty so far is roughly the same, but it just never wants you hanging back.
Yeah, they kind of balance out that sort of pensive play style with, like, they injected a little bit of aggression and reactionism into it, because you can afford to play a little bit riskier if you're willing to, like, think on the fly.
Yeah. And that's something I really, really appreciate with this game because, you know, like, there are times where, you know, if you make the assessment, like, if you know what attack's coming at you, you know, you might just parry it and eat the hit. And then, you know, whenever you hit somebody, a bit of your health comes back.
If it's within a small window of a time where you took damage.
Yeah. So you can take that hit, and then the parry will revive all the damage you just took. And so it creates this interesting kind of, like, idea, you know, like, and I've played this game before, of course, whenever I've been, like, staying at your house and have some extra time. Like, I'll play it for 4 hours, I'll start a new game, play through it, but I've never had a chance to really sit down and tear into it, and I'm having a lot more fun with it now. I beat Vicar Emily or whatever.
Yeah, Amelia something, yeah.
Yeah, I beat her in one go.
Nice.
Felt super cool.
I actually walked past her the first time accidentally. I didn't remember to go back to that area for like 10 or 15 hours. So she was like this third to last boss I killed, and it was trivial as fuck because I was way over leveled for it.
Man, that's kind of cool.
I don't actually have a good feel for what that fight should be like.
She was pretty tough. I think I was taking off like 1/40th of her health each hit.
Okay.
But then I put on the fire paper. And then, you know, started doing some heavy attacks. Every heavy attack was just enough to stun her.
Nice.
And so it was a pretty good time. I was streaming it for a while, but upon looking at the recordings in the archives, I found that my PS3 mic was fucking garbage now. And it was just poppy as fuck and damn near unlistenable, so I stopped doing that.
Fair enough.
So, does this carry over the multiplayer features of Dark Souls?
To an extent, yes, but, you know, obviously it's been a couple of years since it came out. Like, there aren't that many people who aren't on New Game Plus that are playing.
The community does, I think annually though, restart kind of communal events where everybody creates new accounts and tries to play through it at a certain pace.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic actually. Like, you're just like a month after the last one happened.
Oh, really?
You're probably not catching anybody who's doing it right now.
No, I accidentally summoned an NPC, which also summoned an invader. But the invader wasn't doing anything. They were just ringing a fucking bell at me, so I stabbed them to death. And then they died.
You get a fair amount of that. I think they pretty much have full feature parity, if I remember correctly, between this and Dark Souls in terms of the multiplayer options. They handle it in slightly different ways. Like, you use like a consumable item. I don't remember what it is for summoning at one point, but I think
I think you just use Insight.
Yeah, that's correct. And it was really fucking annoying because at launch the servers were fucked, so people were spending their Insight and not getting anything out of it because no players were connecting to them.
Fun.
But yeah, that's not really an issue anymore, fortunately. I think that was only around for the first few weeks of the game.
Yeah. Also, not a problem anymore are the load times.
Yeah.
When I first played this, I believe, if I recall correctly, I walked about 7 miles and took the bus to the city in order to play this at Josh's PS4. And the trip was a little more fun than the actual game in the end, unfortunately, just because I didn't have much time. But, like, from what I remember, the load times were awful, and they also did one thing, and I don't know if I'm crazy, but did the loading, or, like, when you load it in, did it used to fade in?
How do you mean?
Like, did the game kind of fade in and put you in? Because now, when you're done loading, you are fully in it.
I don't remember.
It's not fading from black at all.
I don't remember it fading, but maybe it did. I honestly just remember looking at the black screen with the word Bloodborne on it more than anything, because you spend like a third of your playtime doing that if you're like me and you're not great at those games, but you can get through them. Yeah,
and it made it even more frustrating, like, you know, you have to go back to the Hunter's Dream in order to spend all of your blood echoes. And that took like 30 seconds to load in and 30 seconds to load out, if not more.
Yeah, 30 seconds is a conservative estimate.
I think it was 30 to get in and probably 50 to even a minute. to go back into the actual game.
That sounds closer to about right. Yeah, there were definitely times where I was weighing the pros and cons of leveling up my character versus like, well, maybe I can get to this next section and not die. Not because it was like a risk reward within the game mechanics, but because it was a risk reward of, do I have the patience to load this?
Which is not what you want in a game like this, because games like this, like the whole purpose is to test your like skill, and when your patience enters into it, it's just like, well.
Well, it's like it tests your patience on like a micro level.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do you have the patience to like wait for this enemy to like make a bad move and like get out of position? But
it shouldn't have near tests of patience.
Yeah, I would apply that to any other game, including Nier.
I like it in Nier. I really like it.
I hadn't ever played after they changed the load times. I just know from hearing other people that it is a lot better. So good for you people, I guess.
Yeah, it's awesome for me.
I had to live with that burden my entire play duration.
Well, I get to have fun with it.
How are you building?
I got 30 strength, and I'm going to go for 20 vitality and endurance.
Okay.
And then I think I'm just going to go back to strength.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Are you still using the bone spear?
Sock lever.
Oh, sock lever.
I've got it to like +5 now. I got the Kirk hammer, but I didn't like it.
Kirk hammer.
The Kirk hammer it's the coolest weapon that isn't actually that great. Like basically it is a giant anvil that you embed a sword into to turn said sword into a hammer.
So it's like the sword in the stone, but you couldn't get it out.
But you're carrying
you just
the stone
decided
too.
you were just gonna use it this way.
Exactly, yeah. Like when you have it in sword form, the hammer head is just sitting on your back, just this giant metal, like deeply, intricately engraved box hanging out on your back, and you're like slashing around, and it's a pretty fast, responsive weapon in that state. And then you just go, and then you pull this hammer off of your back.
Yeah, one of the thing I summoned, the NPC I summoned, had the Kirk hammer, which was cool, but they weren't using the heavy attack. So they were doing about 16 damage a hit. And I'm sitting here getting this first impression, just watching them get fucking murdered by a guy that I can kill in 5 hits. I'm just like, I guess I'll buy it just to see if it really is that shitty. And the thing is about the Kirk hammer is that you only want to use the heavy attack, because the heavy attack will do 400 damage, which is fucking crazy. And it's actually not even that bad of a wind-up.
No, that's the thing. The Kirk hammer is never as unwieldy to use as you would expect, like hearing a description of it or looking at it. But I remember the scaling not being especially good. Like, I think Ludwig's Holy Sword, if I remember correctly, is the kind of doppelhander sword. You might not have found that yet.
I think I have the thing that lets me buy it.
Okay.
Should it scale with strength?
It should.
Okay, I might grab that thing, because I'm building strength real tough.
Okay, if I remember correctly, and I might be confusing this with another weapon, but that was like a tiny sword that turns into a giant sword when you transform it.
That's
and
cool.
That was basically just a better, like a conceptually less interesting but mechanically better Kirk hammer.
It also sounds cool. I like the idea of a holy sword in this fucking disease-ridden shithole.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing, is like everything is dripping with like self-righteousness. Like everybody thinks they're doing what's best for the world, and in actuality everyone's just turning into fucking like mushrooms and shit.
Yeah, I haven't run into the mushrooms yet.
Is this The Last of Us?
A little bit.
Okay.
Last of Us 2.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah, that's a late title card. Once you beat the game, it's like, are you ready for Chapter 2?
God.
And then Joel comes out and he one-shots your main character with a pistol.
If Joel was a boss, like, you just replace Papa G with Joel.
Ooh, I had so much more fun fighting him when I realized that you were just supposed to be aggressive. Like, I especially because I'm using the pistol this time rather than the blunderbuss.
Yeah.
And the pistol is actually fucking useful for stunning.
Yeah.
For, like, stunning the little enemies. For the big ones, you actually can't stun them without the blunderbuss.
Yeah.
Which is a blunder.
Yeah, Papa G plays like the player character is supposed to. So if you're not ready for it, he's just going to get right up in your face and make you have a bad time.
Yeah, I had to cheese him every time with a oil thing and then fire.
I still usually will throw that in because when he does his transformation animation, he's basically just begging for you to burn him alive.
That's true. I did really enjoy, like, I just parried the fuck out of him in both forms. Mm-hmm. And the last one, he was, like, ready to bring his claw down, and I just shot him right in the chest and then ripped his guts out.
Nice.
And that's how he died, and that made me feel great. I beat him on my third try this time.
Nice. It's not bad. Grayson, how much of the later Dark Souls games did you play? Because I know you put a decent amount of time into the first one, but...
So I've gotten about halfway through one. Okay. I've gotten...
With cheats?
Yeah, with cheats.
I'm not going to let you just gloss over that.
I've gotten about a quarter of the way through 2. And that's it.
2 is actually a lot easier. If you want to give it another shot, play with a mace and just pump strength.
Okay.
Because that's what I did.
Use swords and just kind of hang out in the Rat King area and just, you know...
Oh yeah, invade people?
Yeah.
That was really fun. I actually really love that about 2.
That's like kind of all I do when I fire it up is invade people.
Did 2 end up having more like interesting, varied environments at the end? Because I remember getting...
They got worse.
Yeah, because I remember the beginning of the game being really cool and rich
you walk
and
into
diverse.
Majula.
Yeah. Well, and there's always like, because the way the map of that game is like, it's almost kind of like a wheel with spokes. Like there's always like 2 or 3 things you can be doing at any given time, which makes it feel really fresh. But then when you get to the mid game, it's just like, okay, I'm in a gray castle. Okay, I'm in like a black cave. I'm in like a brown cave.
There was one area that was interesting to look at, but it made up for it and how annoying it was to deal with because you're in waist deep water all the time.
Okay.
And you had to dodge like magic missiles all over the fucking place. It was just annoying.
Is that in the Giant's Castle?
No.
Okay.
I actually don't remember. I beat that game once and then just went, okay. It was the first one I ever beat, actually. I still haven't beaten 1 because it's super hard.
Yeah, I fell off 2 halfway through, mostly because of that kind of monotony slump tension.
That's why you haven't played 3, right?
Yeah, that is part of the reason. Like, I remember looking at a lot of 3 and thinking, this reminds me a lot of the middle of 2 and the beginning of 1.
So, you haven't beaten 1, yet there's a person who has beaten it with Donkey Konga Congo drums.
There's a person who's beaten it with voice commands.
Well, maybe you should get good.
I do like watching the Guitar Hero plays.
What level was your character, Greyson?
Probably like a trillion.
I don't understand how you can't beat the game at that point.
The platforming itself is too difficult.
That's fair. The platforming is really cumbersome in those games. Bloodborne had basically none of that, which was nice.
What Grayson's referring to as platforming, if I remember correctly, was just like a narrow ledge.
Strategic falling is usually what platforming is
or like
in those games. You
end up at the bottom of Plague Town and you're like, this game isn't really rewarding enough for me to climb back up.
I mean, you go to fight the spider lady.
I didn't know that existed for a long time.
So you didn't look around the bottom of Blighttown.
By the 3rd time.
Where do you think you're going? The whole path of Blighttown is pointing you downwards.
I was like, there's supposed to be a bell down here, but I can't see it, so I'm leaving.
Yeah,
every time you come up with like a grievance with Dark Souls, and the thing is, I understand a lot of them, but for some reason with you specifically, every time it's just like, I tried to beat it, but I didn't.
Did you feel like you missed out at all with Bloodborne, or were you not really bummed that you didn't have a PS4 and weren't able to play it?
Not super bummed. Okay. The aesthetic, I don't really like the gothic aesthetic of things.
Okay, see, that was a big selling point for me. Like, there is definitely a lot of, like, gray on black in Bloodborne, but it's so, like, richly detailed and, like grotesque.
As soon as you had those blood reds, not a fan.
There's not that much red, really, in Bloodborne, actually, because it's too dark.
It's too dark to see. It's usually...
black blood.
I will occasionally be startled when I walk past a light source just to see how fucking soaked in blood I am.
Yeah.
Which is always cool.
Are you Big Boss?
Pretty much.
I'm still really fucking disappointed that the Dark Souls 2 torch mechanic never panned out, though.
Yeah.
I still long deep down in my heart for that game to be made, because, like, I was in whatever that village is in Zelda where you go to the workshop and they ask you to light this one fire, and there's lanterns all across the town, and it was like evoking this memory of like the first 30 minutes of Dark Souls 2 and me like trying to maximize the light sources everywhere because I was like, oh, this is gonna matter at some point, and then it fucking doesn't because they couldn't get the lighting engine to work right on the hardware.
Yeah, and then they didn't do anything with it in 3 either.
Yeah, like I would.
In fact, Breath of the Wild actually does it in one area.
Oh,
You played it, I believe.
did I?
Oh.
I don't think I did.
Well, maybe you should look forward to something even more evocative.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I would like that. No, I don't. I'm not really worried about spoilers for this game.
I am, though, and
you-
that makes me a hypocrite.
Did you
Well, you
light
already were.
all
So.
the torches in that town?
Yeah, I lit all the torches in that town, and it doesn't fucking do anything.
Okay, I
Which
was
is-
thinking about going back and doing that.
How the hell do you not get a Korok seed for that? Like they give you a Korok seed for like pissing in a bush, but if you light all of these very like explicitly carved out lanterns that like follow this path from the fire to the spot where you're supposed to deliver the fire, it does nothing.
There is this one part where a girl is like sitting next to one of the lanterns, and she's like, I missed it when it was lit. It looked very pretty. And so I went on this huge quest to just light it up, thinking I would get something for it, and she's just like, I like the look, I like the way this looks when it's lit, thank you. And that's it.
Yeah, that game.
Nice guy Link.
That game is weird about the things it chooses to reward and not. Much like the Dark Souls series.
Dark Souls always rewards the same thing over and over again. Which is why I don't really like the main... Yeah, just careful planning, methodical execution. Like, that's why I'm liking Bloodborne a bit more, because it lets me get a little crazy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely like to see a Bloodborne 2. Because that would interest me a lot more than another Dark Souls game.
I'm trying to think.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Just trying.
No, there's nowhere you can... Maybe like, I'm blood to born.
You're born to blood.
Born to blood.
Okay.
But like the 2 is in the between them.
Is this the massive bread of Bloodborne?
It's like Boys to Men, but that.
Well, after that total farce, let's get some Total War in, Greyson.
So,
Oh, nice.
are either of you familiar with the Total War series?
I played Medieval, the demo for it on my terrible computer, and wished I could play it.
I have seen screenshots of maybe one of the Total War games, I think.
Okay.
I'm
Well-
a seasoned veteran.
Total War is a real-time strategy game where you command an army.
Oh, interesting.
And this is
Totally, or just kind of like a little bit at a time?
Half-assed war.
Totally.
Totally, wow.
And so this is the Warhammer iteration of that.
Isn't the hook that there is like a turn-based strategy layer over
Yes, there is a turn-based grand strategy game over the top.
the top? Okay.
And so in this
It connects to EU4.
I wish.
Don't they have a game, a Paradox, where you can import a save from one of their games into another?
So
all
their
of them,
primary
actually.
thing, you can
Okay.
import your Crusader King save into EU4,
Okay.
and that to Victoria 2, and that to Hearts of Iron.
Okay, but it doesn't go all the way up to Stellaris?
That would just be kind of boring.
That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
I want them to create that stopgap
Somebody,
now.
I think, was working on that mod. So, like, you know how there is the pops in Stellaris, like on the
Yeah.
planets? Those will just be named after the biggest countries in your Hearts of Iron save.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Like, it would be inconsequential as fuck, but you could say you did it, which is like half the battle.
And you can name your civilization whatever based on who wins.
Yeah. It was for the most, like, callous, tacky reason, but I always found it inadvertently charming that they advertised Civilization, what was the space one? Beyond Earth. If you
Yeah.
got the science ending in 5. Like,
Oh,
that
that is kind of cool.
like, it's totally just them shilling for their next product, but the fact that they only do it if you get the science ending kind of makes it heartwarming in a way. It's like, okay, you kind of tried to not make this the most soulless thing.
They also released Sid Meier's Starships, which is if you get the science ending in Beyond Earth.
Oh, Starship takes place after?
Yeah, it's very lame.
Okay.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad to
It's
hear that.
an appropriate successor to Beyond Earth.
I played Beyond Earth twice and really enjoyed those 2 playthroughs, and I played Civ 5 probably 300 times.
Yeah, I've never had a bad time with Beyond Earth. I've just had very little time with it and feel no reason to go back.
Yeah, same.
The science tree was super cool conceptually, but it didn't really
I totally
feel
forget.
like it was a web instead of a linear tree.
Oh yeah, and like one would take you into imperialism or whatever.
There was purity, supremacy, and
symbiosis or something.
Harmony.
Yeah.
Harmony, yeah.
I never went harmony. I tried supremacy and I tried purity. I didn't like either of them. They were both really jingoistic.
That's kind of why Harmony's there, to be like the quote-unquote good guy path. It's like the hippie tree.
But I'm not that way. I just want to be neutral.
What's the neutral path in Total War Warhammer?
Dwarves.
Okay.
You just
Have
sit
you been
there.
playing dwarves?
It's a really the over-the-top turn-based strategy game is where it's like really shines. So each faction plays completely differently on that level.
Okay.
So like,
As opposed to the real-time part where you think it's a little more homogenous?
it's like, oh, your units are different, but you know, you've got the rock, paper, scissors style combat.
Okay.
And you know, you make some strategic decisions and that's it.
Yeah, like cavalry will always. Do the dwarves have cavalry?
No.
They
So-
just ride on each other's shoulders.
Archers would fuck them up real bad then.
They also really lack archers. They don't have spear units, so cavalry fucks them up real bad.
The dwarves just kind of lay in a ditch and cry.
It's
I guess that's why they're neutral. They just
heavy
get fucking
infantry and
murdered.
artillery is kind of where it's at.
Oh, artillery. That sounds cool. I gotta confess, I have been wanting to jump back on the Total War Warhammer train, so Greyson, if you find it for very cheap somewhere and want to make up for the fact that you haven't gotten me the Nargotha mug for like 5 years running, go ahead.
I like this running joke that I'm supposed to buy you your own birthday present.
Wait, I'm supposed to buy you your own birthday present? That's how it usually
You're
goes.
an adult. You're into buying your own now.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's my birthday. I should do something nice for myself.
I'm not an adult. I couldn't work at Burger King.
I'm sorry.
That's the opposite of being an adult.
So how does it feel different between the factions on the grand strategy layer?
So, I mostly just play Chaos and Dwarves because they're simpler. But like Chaos, you don't have cities. Your like city buildings are built into your armies.
That's cool.
So you mostly just run around raiding other people's cities.
So you're nomadic, essentially.
Yes. And like orcs, you have to beat up the other orcs so you can make your orc army bigger and get allies.
That's cool.
And
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Like, isn't it all like a bunch of like quarreling tiny factions? You have to
yes,
unite,
the
essentially.
overmap is insanely huge. I haven't even seen the whole thing.
Wow.
Because most of the time it's like in the fog of war
Okay.
until you've explored it.
And is the map the same for every campaign, every faction, and you're just kind of
Yes.
playing it out from different sides?
Different area.
I like that actually.
I have not gotten to the dwarves as a chaos game because they're farther to the south.
Okay.
And I've never even seen the Beastmen other than like playing as the dwarves because they are at the farthest south. Now I've got a buddy who's actually into Warhammer, and apparently they've just flushed all the lore for this down the toilet and redone it.
Was it shitty at launch? Was that one of the many things
No,
people
like
had
this was the lore from Warhammer since the beginning.
Oh.
And they just said fuck it.
And they decided to start over with
On all
the
the
physical
properties?
product for
Okay.
regular Warhammer,
Okay.
not Warhammer 40k because that's
Yeah.
actually successful.
We should actually reiterate that. If you were thinking this is Total War Warhammer 40k, you would be correct in thinking that it would be way cooler. This is the medieval one.
I would love a 40k one.
I would fucking really like
Have
that.
any of the Total War games been in the future in any way?
No, they've gone up to well, the latest they've gone is Shogun.
I thought the latest they got Total War Empire or something. Empire Total War. and that
That's
was...
this early 1800s. Shogun 2 takes place after the Civil War.
Oh really?
If you do like Fall of the Samurai
Oh wow.
campaigns, it's like when the United States is offering help.
Like guns and shit within
Yeah,
the
it's
black
like-
ships.
Have you seen The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise?
Ah yes, the last Tom Cruise samurai.
Basically, the U.S. was like, okay, we've exterminated all of our native peoples. Let's go over to Japan and help them do that too.
They're basically
All the native Tom Cruises.
They're playing like the Ubisoft checklist open world game of genocide.
Yes.
God, I hate open world games.
I don't know why,
They're all terrible.
but you love Zelda somehow.
That's the only one. And I think that's
Dark Souls an open world game?
if you really, really want to stretch the definition, but it doesn't have any of the same design philosophies. You're never climbing a tower to go unlock more side
Aren't there
quests.
collectibles though? They just happen to be weapons.
It doesn't ever surface a collectible list to you, though. Like, it doesn't encourage the player to want to get everything. If anything, those games, I would say, almost go too far into, like, incentivizing the player to drill very deep down into one thing, which kind of makes them monotonous in the second half, for me.
That's a good point.
Like, the
Very
fact
good
that you
point.
can't get, like, enough high-end materials to get, like, more than 2 weapons to,
Oh.
like, 7 plus 7 or whatever.
Dark Souls 3 changes that,
Okay.
in case you're interested in playing.
That is a point in the pro column.
Yeah, and honestly, you would probably like Dark Souls 3 a lot more than 2, because it's actually put together.
So, this suffers from, like, the usual Warhammer AI problems. I don't like attacking, like in the RTS part. And if you have evenly matched armies, the AI won't attack either. You can just wait for the timer to run out.
That's realistic.
But if you have artillery, you force them to attack.
And gee, I bet Greyson has a lot of artillery.
No, your army's a maximum of 20 things, and artillery
Oh. Only
will
20.
not cut it.
Only 20 pieces of artillery then.
No, it's more like you can have 4, and then you better have something to back it up.
Only other games worked like that, Greyson. Don't think I've forgotten. Oh, Brett, it's been 4 years since then. You shouldn't still be pissed off about it. Oh, no, I am.
The issue is you're playing Company of Heroes 2v2 with me, so I can have other people do the meat part, and I can just do, like, the guns.
And the barbed wire, and the tank traps, and the being a pain in my fucking ass.
Materiel. That's what it's called. But, you know, that's just how I like to play. You don't put men in harm's way.
There's no multiplayer component in this, though, is there?
There is.
Okay.
You can do it multiplayer, but I don't think people do that very often.
It's more focused on the single player.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grayson, if you buy it for me, I'll play with you once. Maybe even twice.
No. I haven't even gotten the DLC yet because it never goes on sale.
How much DLC is there for this?
So they're releasing races as DLC.
Okay.
So it started out with like 5 races, and then they're like, hey, if you pre-order, you get Chaos. But I didn't, but I still got Chaos for free somehow.
Oh, weird.
And
If you order...
if you buy it, we'll give you this for free.
Are they, are those DLC factions things you can still fight against
Yes.
without it? Okay.
But they're like $20. It's a lot.
Wow.
That's why I want to go on sale.
Yeah, this is another example of Paradox, like,
This
heavily
isn't
monetized.
Paradox. This is Sega.
Oh, that's right, the Total War games.
Total
are
War
Sega.
is Sega with
Yeah, we-
Creative
we-
Assembly.
We led you to the wrong conclusion when we started talking about Europa Universalis.
Yeah, you got me all wrapped
Now,
up in
Europa
some other
Universalis does have a mod where you can play through your things in a Total War Empire game.
nonsense. Okay,
Also Game of Thrones.
cool.
Yeah, the Game of Thrones mods are pretty good. Really well done.
Mountain Blade also has some weird ones, I think.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of slicks.
Oh, it has a Warhammer one. It's really...
40K or...
this one. It's really good, though, because you can, like, orc heads are helmets that you equip.
Okay.
So, like... But I think they're restricted to races, but I think I cheated out of that, so I was wearing orc heads on my regular dude, and it just clipped all over the place and looked stupid.
I think Mountain Blade is the one where I've seen Star Wars mods for it that look
Yep.
kind of fun.
Oh yeah, there's also one guy who's a bear, but they couldn't get a bear model, so it's just... He's in chainmail, and he has a bear head.
Oh,
And I took a picture of him.
it's pretty
Is
metal.
that in a mod or...
That's a mod.
Okay, I was hoping it was just vanilla Mountain Blade.
It's not too vanilla.
Oh, Mountain Blade was so easy to cheese.
It was so... Honestly, I've never played a game of that where I didn't really cheat, except for the first one.
Oh, like, not even cheat, just like go to the, like, pick a northerner, like the Viking
The
faction.
Vigors?
Huh?
The Vigors or whatever?
Probably. And then go to the south where there's like the Ottoman, like, Arab XP horseman dudes. Like the Khanate.
Oh yeah, those guys?
And then you just conquer
Those
one
are,
of those
those are to the east.
and get horse archers.
You can't say just conquer and then say that it's cheesing.
It's kind of cheesy, because then you can conquer the
You know a great way to cheese Dark Souls? You just beat all the bosses. Game, set, and match.
Yeah, it kind of just sounds like you're playing the game, Grace.
Horse archers, man, they're OP.
I mean, they are very strong.
Yeah. I mean, it's a horse and an archer.
Yeah.
Like, that's twice as much unit as most units.
What I would do is I would just do Control F4, and that would knock out members of the enemy army, and I would just do that and roleplay that I was sending assassins to poison their food.
Why do they put that function in the game?
You have to enable cheats to do it.
Oh, okay. You glossed over that part. I thought this was just like a bit like, oh, by the way, Control F4, that will always kill enemies.
It's kind of fun. That game, what are they? The Blade Maidens? Shield Maidens? They're like some of the strongest units in the game.
Huskarls?
No, they're women.
Shield.
Like when you recruit peasants and then you get them upgraded all the way through.
Yeah, they cost so much though, because they're on the mercenary tree.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Just get Huskarls. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are.
They're probably better than Shield Maidens, actually. What do you think, Josh? What's your favorite Mount and Blade unit?
Oh, I mean, there's just so many that I have such a deep
Are you a
connection
Swatian?
I mean, he has played.
to. Have I?
Yeah, you played at my house and you were like... We were playing like a castle siege defense and people were just coming up the ladders and you were killing them one by one. And you're like, this has to be so disappointing for them because it was just you left.
Oh yeah, I do kind of remember this. Yeah, is the whole game easy or is it just like?
No, it's actually
It's
it can be
incredibly
very hard.
difficult at the beginning.
It's well, the thing is, it starts out defaulting at like the easiest setting, and even then, it's like a regular game. But if you turn all the settings to realistic stuff, it is brutally difficult.
So what did you set up for me, Grayson?
Oh, this is like one of those skirmish multiplayer matches where it was just like, hey, 300 guys against you, but you have a castle and they only have one ladder.
Okay, so it was just like a terrain advantage that the
Yeah.
game didn't really have a way to account
And
for.
Well, it's just a preset.
There's no exhaustion either, so...
It's a preset scenario, so it's not like you're building your own army and fighting against another one.
Normally you have to like build up your band of mercenaries and...
That part I didn't know about, but yeah, I did like you said, I didn't spend any time with that stuff.
Total War Warhammer. It's a great game if you feel like talking about Mount and Blade.
Yeah, so, like, do you feel like there is kind of a longevity to this game, or is this just sort of something you're killing time with? Like, is this something you're going to be talking about for years to come? Like,
Is this going to be your topic next week?
It's no Europa Universalis, but it's good.
Okay.
It has mixed reviews
So that's why
on
it's
Steam
no-
because of the DLC policy.
That's why it's no Europa Universalis, because it's good.
Do you think the base game is enough content and enough quality content to like recommend it to people, or
At
is
the
it,
$60 non-sale price tag, no.
I saw it on sale for like $8.
Yeah, I paid
a few weeks
18
ago.
and I'm happy with it.
okay, cool.
Even when it's on sale for $8, that DLC doesn't go on sale.
Jesus.
All right, well,
We gotta talk about our thing.
is that
April
this next
2nd.
week? Oh,
Yeah.
we've got a date. All right, yeah, April 2nd.
At 1 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, we're gonna do like a kind of a maybe not a marathon. What's the middle ground between a marathon and a sprint?
It's called a half marathon.
A half marathon.
Yeah, it rolls right off the tongue.
A jog.
We're gonna have kind of a trek
Well, there we go.
through Europa Universalis 4. I have never played a Europa Universalis game, and I've only barely played Stellaris, which is already like baby mode for this genre. And I am curious to understand why people spend so many hours on these things. So Grayson and Brent.
Yeah, definitely not me.
Because Brett has, well, I was about to say has sense, but then I remember that you're making me play a Dragon Guard stream, so
Yeah,
that's not
which
really applicable.
that went real well. We did that, Thursday,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be doing that on Fridays from now on.
Yeah,
So
if you want to figure out why we're doing those on Fridays from now on, watch the last 5 minutes.
I flash the camera and I start singing "Calling to the Night" apropos of nothing, and I get more than half the lyrics wrong.
Yeah. I suspect our Europa Universalis stream will be a lot more contained than that. Because it's going to be 3 people communicating remotely as opposed to drinking in the same room. And they're going to be teaching me the ropes. Hopefully by the end of the stream, if you're somebody who has virtually zero knowledge of grand strategy, what I would like in my heart of hearts is for you to be able to watch this full stream and pay attention and actually know how to play the game by the end of it.
So I was playing as the Ottomans last night to prepare for this, to teach you. And if you do what I did, I played 60 years, you will be well on your way to conquering the whole world.
Okay?
So if you play just as well as Greyson,
Who has like dozens of hours in this genre.
Not dozens,
hundreds.
thousands.
or thousands, wow, more than I thought.
Yeah, so if I'm just that good off the bat, then
Yep.
yeah, we'll be fine.
Then-
I've only really learned how to play in like the last 300 hours, though.
Oh, okay, so you can get up there pretty quick. If you are interested in where to catch us, it is twitch.tv/sharewarepod, all one word.
Yeah, and if you have any thoughts on these monstrosities of content, or on GOG Galaxy, Bloodborne, Total War, Warhammer, anything we've discussed on the show, write into sharewarepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. I think that is about everything for the first half.
So we're gonna swing on over to the game club where we're gonna play.
Grab our lasso and tether up and swing to the next segment, because that's the thing you do is swing between segments of
Or
a show.
we could creep like Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell Blacklist through the Guantanamo Bay detention facility.
I'm gonna tear gas my way over to the game club.
I was going to segue my way through the Guantanamo Bay Mall.
Can you imagine if there was a stealth Segway as a gadget and you're just like riding?
It's just got a wall in front of it so you can crouch behind it and be like,
There's a riot shield built in. That's perfect.
oh, there you go.
We should probably get to the next segment.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Shareware. We're here with the Game Club, in which we've played through Guantanamo Bay Detention Facility of Splinter Cell Blacklist, the dark middle chapter of the dark everything going on in this game.
So there was one thing that I noticed when I started up the game this time. Last time it was recommended that I play on realistic. I then looked at the difficulty. It was at realistic.
Okay.
That kind of threw me off, but I did end up having more fun with this part because it actually was a little bit harder. Except for the parts where it's like, oh, if you're seen, restart. And then I just turned it to rookie because I had enough of that the first time.
Yeah. Do we want to start off with the co-op stuff, since that's what we ended up doing first, Greyson, and then kind of transition into just get it out of the way, because you didn't play any of it, Brett.
Yeah.
But like playing some of the co-op stuff, we streamed a little bit of it.
The difficulty is all over the board.
Well, the design in general is all over the board. Like it felt like there was no cohesion to what they wanted out of those missions, which maybe would have meant a little more sense if we were picking them through the convoluted menus like normal. Because I don't know, maybe it's like, oh, the Grim missions have like this sort of profile, and then when you do the Charlie missions, it's a little more balls out action or whatever.
Not quite. The Hawkins Seafort and the boat one were Grim missions.
Okay, so maybe there is no rhyme or reason. But I could have bought that maybe there was rhyme or reason. But you wouldn't know that because the way you actually do matchmaking for this game is to, like, completely subvert the, what is it called, the SMI or whatever?
Yeah.
And you just go into this, like, COD 4-looking lobby system, and, like, it randomly shuffles ones in, or you could pick them from a long list without actually, like, figuring out what the fuck the missions are. You just pick it from the list of names. So for all the effort they put in to, like, have narrative justifications for all the stuff that's going on in the game, they just throw that out the fucking window if you try to play them co-op, which I would assume if they made co-op an option for all these missions that they probably figured some people were going to play them co-op. It didn't really seem like that in practice, though. I don't know.
Yeah, and I never looked at the co-op for this and went, that's something I want to do.
Yeah, and having done, what did we do, like 3 or 4 missions?
Yeah, we did a couple.
That's kind of where I'm at now, after having played some of them.
Cool. I got to skip some steps.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
it's like one is like murder everybody. One is like you could be sneaky, or you can murder everybody, and one is like murder everybody but don't get caught.
Yeah, or it's like murder everybody, but if you get caught, you have to murder 10 more people. Which is
that every time you get caught?
No, it's just like they kill 18 people, or if you get spotted, they call in reinforcements, and now there's like 30 people or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
These missions sound enthralling.
Yeah, it was not inspired, I guess is how I would put it.
Also, the patrol patterns aren't very... They're not as well distinguished.
It also just felt like they weren't thought out logically. Like, it felt like I had to go out of my way to find enemies sometimes. Like, the path that I would actually take to go do the objectives didn't put me in harm's way, or, like, put me in the path of the guards in any way. So, just to, like, ease my conscience for later, I went out of my way to find trouble so that I could then eliminate it in case it would come up later, which it didn't actually, so it was kind of pointless.
That boat mission.
Yeah, that was weird. So the last one we did, it's like you're on a boat or a yacht or whatever, and there's 3 things you've got to hack. There's like a cell phone and a laptop and like a smart fridge or whatever.
Can you just use the try order and do all that? Because that's what would make sense.
Yeah, it would make sense, but you got to go up to them manually and do each one hand by hand.
Get spotted, you got to start over.
I always hate that in stealth games. Like, that's what the original Splinter Cells did. But I was more okay with it back then because it was meant to be like, this is Metal Gear, but we're taking it way more seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not having these bombastic plots. I mean, I think at the end you deal with nukes, but that's like where MGS starts.
Yeah.
Like in Splinter Cell, it was always just like, everything's kind of cumbersome.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's not like that, so it shouldn't be like that at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, for me, the bigger problem is just that, like, okay, well, when you have stuff like that within the like, single-player missions, you're typically, like, worst case scenario, you might lose, like, 3 or 4 minutes of progress, because the levels essentially boil down to really wide hallways.
We consistently were losing, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Because there's sandboxes in the co-op missions. In the co-op missions, you are put into, like, what could be, like, a Call of Duty map, and they're like, okay, sneak through this, and however long it takes is however far you're going to get set back if you fuck up at literally like the last possible moment.
Yeah,
Jesus.
we cleared the whole boat. We killed everybody on the boat.
Yeah, that's the worst fucking part, is there was nobody on the boat to do anything about us at this point, but it was still like, oh, I tripped a laser beam, so like, I guess whoever's like running the boat 10 miles out is going to be annoyed.
They're gonna fucking send a missile at you, bro.
Yeah, so we had some restarts after having completely wiped the boat, like 3 times, I think,
Wow.
Which, like, this isn't to say, like, oh, that's bullshit or anything. Like, we were fucking up, but it was just, like, such a disproportionate punishment for how minuscule a mistake it was oftentimes.
I mean, I hated that shit even when we were doing it in single player.
Yeah, and it is exponentially worse in multiplayer.
Like,
So we pick up again going to London?
Yeah,
so it is
London,
on the
Iran,
mill.
Pittsburgh, and Guantanamo.
Yeah, we are. We're going to that abandoned mill because, well, at this point we don't know Sadiq is there, but we do know that ex-MI6 agents are congregating here, I believe.
Yeah, like a sleeper cell just got activated or something.
Yes, that is it. And this mission, this one didn't really have a whole lot of note for the first 80% for me.
And then Sam turns into a total jerk.
Yeah, this is where things kind of come to a head between him and
Briggs.
I
got nerve-gassed, but I'm good.
Yeah, that's the thing that pissed me off, is the other Splinter Cell games are well, we're realistic, we're gonna take it seriously, and then this one, Sam Fisher is heroically fighting off fucking nerve gas. Are you joking? Is this a fucking prank?
Yeah.
It's not like the flu. It cuts off the fucking nerves. It kills your nerves.
Yeah, this was a part where I couldn't gauge how this fit in line with the rest of the Splinter Cell. I don't know how stubborn Sam Fisher is meant to be in the other games, but in here he's just blatantly saying no, fuck you, I can handle this.
The mission.
Yeah, that's his other thing is at this point, basically this whole mission just boils down to I will kill myself and everyone I love if it means that we fulfill our duty.
Yeah. Which can be compelling if you really build up to it and show the whole evolution of the character to this point.
Yeah.
But I don't
He's
feel
not
like
even
it
at
does
that desperation yet, though.
Yeah, it felt like the amount of or the amount of baggage he was putting on this one mission was so much higher than things we had done previously that felt more impactful at the time.
Yeah.
It was how come all of a sudden 2 weeks into this project or whatever, this is the day where you become the biggest hard ass on the planet.
Also, so you get nerve gassed and that gets you captured by Sadiq.
Mm-hmm.
And then Briggs comes to rescue you.
And he's still mad because he didn't do it quite right.
Yeah,
he's you should have killed Sadiq, and it's okay, let's kill the leader of the shadowy organization. I'm sure he never expected that he might be killed, and would just leave it to a number 2 who is now completely alerted to your actions.
Well, he's upset because Briggs won't shoot him because he's got Sam at gunpoint.
Yeah, but even if he had killed Sadiq kills Sam, we've lost one incredibly good agent, we've killed one head of probably just this monolithic entity that we don't know who anyone is.
Yeah, the point is that there's no way of knowing whether or not the operation could continue without Sadiq. So to just kill him is to cut off a bunch of potential solutions to the problem.
Yeah, but Sam's not really looking at that. He's just you didn't do what I said to do.
Which that could have been an interesting angle if it's Sam develops such a fixation on Sadiq as this figurehead of the organization that it's not about the job anymore, no matter what he says. It's actually about taking down Sadiq. But they don't actually start building up a relationship between Sam and Sadiq until after this part of the game. So it almost feels like they're putting the cart before the horse in that respect.
Yeah. And then
the thing is they don't treat Sam like he was wrong at any point. Mm-hmm. They're Briggs, you made the compassionate call, not you made the one that makes fucking sense.
Turning your badge and your gun.
Yeah, then we've got Briggs on the bench for the next 20 minutes, which doesn't actually end up mattering because then Grimm goes over his head with it in the next mission.
Because she's Sam, you're an idiot.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah, because Sam is an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, so Nuri gives the United States information that Iran's behind these attacks?
Yeah, Iran is...
No, that happens after this. This is the one where the information we find implicates Iran.
Yeah, and it leaks out. Now basically the entire U.S. populace is calling for blood against
I like
Iran.
those news stories.
The ones that play when you're in the pre-briefing?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are nice. They do a good job of contextualizing what everyone else thinks about.
So they're
this
very
nonsense.
realistic of Fox News.
Yes, it feels appropriately jingoistic and that kind of
It's
thing.
very pundity.
Yeah. But yeah, we have to go to the. This is where we go to the embassy, right? Or it used to be an embassy.
The
in
U.S. Embassy, but now it's the Qud Force headquarters.
Yeah, it's the special
Iranian Special Forces.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's
Yeah,
their headquarters.
Yeah,
and I really, really the one thing that really caught my attention in this whole thing was the decoration of the Statue of Liberty as a Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
That was really cool, and I would get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, it felt a little bit edgy for a military organization, but...
Yeah, it's a little ham-fisted.
I feel like we've done enough to the Middle East at this point that level of edge is kind of warranted.
Yeah, it just...
Like, for a government organization to, like, embrace the death to America so hard.
Well, I think it's more like we are the death and killing all of their people.
And then Sam goes, like, real dark at the beginning of this.
What, where he's, like, threatening his family and
Yeah,
stuff?
he's like, got a drone over your kid.
Yeah, drones become much more prevalent in the story about this part about this point, and I also find that the suspension of disbelief becomes a lot more difficult.
What do you mean? Little baby drone killing how many? 10, 12 trucks?
Yeah, but first we have to sneak into this place.
Also, a drone flying over a major metropolitan area without being spotted.
Yeah,
Yep.
Did you guys have any trouble getting into the building initially?
I did. This was one of my major sticking points in my first playthrough.
Yeah, this is where I stopped playing the game when I initially was playing because I could not figure this out.
Yeah, I actually had to resort to a walkthrough for this part because it is so poorly visually
It's
indicated.
So
what
fucking
you're supposed to do.
stupid. Like you can only go along one side. It's what I was talking about in the first episode, but amplified. Like there's one way you can go, basically. Well, two. I managed to find a way that bypasses all of the, I gotta talk to the guard for
Really?
2.5 minutes.
Okay.
There's another ledge on top of the one, and you can just hang on, go around.
Okay.
Just basically go right over them.
Yeah, those, I don't even know how to describe them. They're kind of like pillboxes or whatever. There's these protrusions on the building that you have to climb up and over, but they're so tall that at no point looking at them did I think, oh yeah, of course I climb up there. Like, I was like, am I supposed to cross the street when he starts talking to the guard?
That's what I did the first time.
I tried to navigate on the ground floor because it doesn't feel like there's any verticality to the section whatsoever. I tried to navigate on the ground floor while... What is his name? The Iranian dude that we we're blackmailing Man into taking us into his base. And while he's talking to the guard in an effort to distract him, I'm like, okay, maybe I can squeeze between him and the wall? No, that didn't work. I was trying all these things that seemed like so obviously like they weren't going to work because there was no obvious solution. And then I watch a video of him like climbing over this building and I'm like, oh... Okay, I would not have figured that out on my own.
Can you get on top of the building?
Not
on top.
Not literally on top of the building, but on those things that stick out on if you're facing the front door, there's basically these two they're like outhouse sized things that clip out of the building and you're supposed to mantle over those. And then after that it immediately becomes extremely obvious and easy.
And it's just
the whole mission's kind of weird.
I do like the part after the guy
betrays you,
and then it's just night, like completely dark, and you have to try and use that to your advantage.
Yeah, it is a really striking scene, especially because it gives you a lot of opportunities to take advantage of the last known position mechanic.
Yeah.
Which we didn't really talk about that at all in the first half, but that is increasingly becoming my favorite part of this game. It
is very well done.
I'm not even trying. A lot of these cases, especially during this part of the game, because they force you to be spotted over and over and over again in these missions. But I'm not necessarily even trying to go through without being spotted. I will just intentionally try to get spotted in a specific part of the map where I know I can leverage it. And then just aggro all the guards to one part of the map. And then they set up firing positions under the assumption that I'm in one spot when I crawled away from that 30 seconds ago.
Which can be extremely strange when you were spotted in the middle of the room and then they're all setting up around the part where you're at and just staring intently at where you used to be,
laying down suppressing fire and stuff.
And I was like, I think we lost him, but he's the only guy left because I just shot everyone else in the fucking face.
See, I don't even shoot them when that happens. When they're all fixated on my ghost, then I just leave the fucking room and you can hear the gunfire in the distance. Granted, that gives me a points hit for Panther, but it's funnier.
That's true.
This mission introduces shield guys.
Is this the first time? I guess.
Yes, I think so.
what did you think of these guys?
They're tough, but manageable if you can kill all their friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I save them for last
The
usually,
noise
unless I can
things
get
are
it.
your best friend in this. The noisemakers, so you
Oh.
can get them to look away.
I was just using flashbangs.
I know.
Like, I didn't use noisemakers at all. I haven't really been touching the gadgets.
Yeah, I keep kicking myself because I keep saying I need to use the gadgets more, and then I just don't think of them because
They're not on hotkeys.
yeah, I
Well-
have to pull out the weapon wheel all the time to use them.
The problem for me is you can actually switch through them using the numbers on the top.
Really? Okay.
They're like in 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, and the first ones are for weapons?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, maybe that'll help.
The problem, like the thing that actually got me to use gadgets more was I actually rebound it to be the tip of my thumb, that key.
Mm-hmm.
But I had marked to be the bottom of my thumb
Yeah.
on my mouse. So I would run into these situations where I was just marking everyone in the room, and then there's a flashbang. And that would that would kind of spark things
It was
off. and
really
be-
marked.
It'd be kind of fun, honestly. It added a lot of dynamicism.
Dynamisticism.
Yeah, dynamisticism. That sounds like such a cool cyberpunk thing.
And then
T-Rex is a wizard.
Bro, it's time. Are you ready to get some dynamisticism? Yeah, bro.
so then you have to escape from Iran in a van,
Yep.
The Iran van.
and Charlie's shooting cars behind you with the drone.
Yeah.
So how many rockets are on this baby drone?
Usually, no, this is a
This is a
Predator
full-
drone.
Yeah, this isn't the tri-rotor.
How the fuck is it an Iranian airspace? then?
Exactly. And
Like I like that's why I was kind of confused when you brought that up, because I was like, well, it's a baby drone. You can probably get away with that.
yeah, no.
But this is a Predator.
They commandeer like a full UAV and start blowing up like civilian streets. Like this is the
Yeah.
highway.
I used the cannon for the whole thing. I didn't
I
pick
mean,
up the lock-on mechanic.
That's good.
Oh, there's a lock-on? Because
There is a lock-on.
Oh, because I was having trouble with the rockets, and I too switched to the cannon.
But like, here's the thing: is like
Either
the
way.
whole. This is where the story of this game starts to just get unbelievably stupid.
Yes.
Nerve gas thing, fine. Okay,
he
that's.
only got like a whiff.
Oh, he only got a whiff, so he can overpower nerve gas with his willpower.
He does get like it was a syringe of something.
Something or other.
Well, yeah, but he was
Anti-nerve
willpowering it
gas.
through that. Like, what I understand of nerve gas is it just kills your brain.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like, it's not like, I gotta try really hard. It's not the microwave hallway in MGS4, okay?
Yeah.
It kills your brain. This is not something you grit your teeth through.
I liked the effects it had on like your aim.
It was actually like the way they like slowly reveal that it's happening was well
That
done.
was interesting.
Because like at first I thought that it was like just like not a glitch, but I was like, oh, that was like a weird like mini cutscene thing, because there's one part really early on where there's an innocuous like something that one of those things that happens all the time where you'll enter a room and he'll like pan around and like controls the camera for you for a second, and at the very tail end of it there's like a tiny bit of a blur happening for
Yeah.
maybe a second tops, and you're just like, oh, I guess they were going for like a lens flare effect or something. And then it happens again like 2 minutes later, another little blur. And you're like, okay, I think something's actually happening. And then like 3 minutes after that, you're like, okay, he's definitely fucking sick.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, the execution, I'm not going to say it's brilliant, but it's very effective.
Yeah.
But the concept is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's abysmal. And then we come here. We're here to stop a war from happening.
Yeah, we want to maintain relations between Iran and the U.S., so we drone strike their city.
Well,
After
it's
threatening
a
one-
drone malfunction.
Oh yeah, they're like Iran's gonna buy that.
Yeah.
Note that this is after we threaten a minister of security, one of the leader of the Quds force,
Yeah, he was a
by
general.
threatening his family.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you're American, right? And Sam does not deny it.
No, that's true. I mean, nobody would be as stupid.
Like, here's the thing, you guys are of the impression that the Statue of Liberty thing is a bit edgy. Consider that this is what Iran lets the U.S. get away with in this world.
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of stuff where the Iran's like, this isn't worth pursuing.
Let's wait for a seriously egregious breach of trust between the U.S. and Iran.
Seriously, like, it's so
Relations are so strong between us right now. They only drone struck us once in this whole calendar year.
And like it's just, and then like the only thing that gets mentioned by this is like, that was a risky call, Grim.
Yeah, and I really wanted...
And he's upset that Briggs is driving.
Yeah, this could have... Yeah, because Briggs is supposed to be in timeout. That's his concern right now. He's like, I made a call. I'm boss. I'm Mr. Sam Fisher. And I said no.
God. So fucking dumb.
This would have been a great spot for them to take like a really sharp turn in the direction of the story, and for it to be like kind of a Spec Ops: The Line sort of thing almost, where it's just like, okay, and then there is a war crimes trial, and Sam Fisher is locked away, and the president...
And that's why he has to get out of Guantanamo.
Yeah, that would make way more sense. Because that's the other thing, is right after this, we're now sneaking into, American-run prisons.
We gotta go to Pittsburgh first.
Oh, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
Really important stuff that happens in Pittsburgh. Is that the bomb part?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some interesting things where you play as Briggs, and it's first person.
Interesting in that I did not think they would ever do that.
I mean, they got the first-person engine from the multiplayer. You might as well use it at some point.
Yeah, which doesn't feel that great.
It didn't feel terrible, but it did feel like they just zoomed in the third-person gameplay.
The aim isn't good.
No, and then the recoil on it, like everything animates very awkwardly. It actually kind of looks like a low-rent light gun game, but somehow I'm controlling it fully.
Yeah, it's strange. And the thing is, I had an easier time stealthing at least the second half of this than I did with the regular gameplay.
In first person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think they're a little more forgiving because you don't have the situational awareness.
That is definitely the case, because there were times where I was standing 30 feet in front of somebody, not even crouched, and they wouldn't notice me. And then I stepped 29 feet in front of them, and then they started kind of picking up on something. There's just this Spec Ops dude with an assault rifle pointing at them.
I killed pretty much everyone I saw. There was one guy I didn't notice, and I guess didn't notice all his friends dying. So I got the ghost bonus for that guy.
There you go. Playing a real Splinter Cell style.
Yeah, just how it was meant to be played.
Only spare the people you don't notice.
Greyson, I know this is getting into visual gag territory, but are you getting ready for a nap? Every time I look at you, you are further down on this little cushion until just now, where you were in the fetal position.
I'm entering into food coma territory. I had a big lunch.
You had a steak and some hash browns.
And eggs.
You didn't even eat all of it.
And a malt.
Oh my god.
Okay, I will admit that for your baby stomach, that might be a lot. Not for my baby stomach.
All you had was a pie, you poor thing.
Yeah.
And half a malt.
Well, not half. It was actually not a lot in there.
Alright. But yeah, this is another mission where,
it's just filler.
it doesn't...
It feels like.
It half the time it's forcing you to be full-out assault, which, never mind. I just remembered that this is the worst mission, because this is the part that ends with the train sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did either of you... what difficulty were you playing on during the train sequence?
Realistic.
Was I the only one who literally could not, not even it was really hard. It was 100% impossible for me to re-enter the train during that part where you climb out and climb back
Did you know
in.
about the second window?
I tried every window.
You gotta do your mark and executes.
But I
Within
didn't...
half a second.
No, I literally landed and was dead before I had control every time. I tried all three windows multiple
I didn't
times.
know there was a third window.
Yeah, there was a third window. I found out because I did this section literally a dozen times.
I marked them. I entered the second I hit the ground on the first window I executed.
I
You
could
went to
not
the
even
first
get my
window.
cursor up.
Oh, you just have to hit control as soon as you touch the floor.
I wasn't touching the floor. I want to articulate that there was literally zero possibility for me to perform any gameplay inputs in the time it took for him to complete the animation of climbing back in the...
So what you need is the Rainbow Six Siege, shoot through the windows while hanging upside
Why
down.
can't you do that?
Yeah, I should have just done that. I was stupid. But yeah, so I lowered the difficulty down to normal during that part, landed, and then turned it back up to realistic while I was in cover, and then killed them. That's what I fucking had to do.
Damn. And of course, you got credit for beating it on normal difficulty.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah. So the thing, I think my favorite thing about this mission, and that's to say that there's not a lot, is just the fact that they're you got to use your sonar to look at the mines, and I'm it's broad daylight,
I hated the mines.
and they are right there. They are just fucking sitting there. There's nothing difficult about spotting these mines unless you're not looking because you're distracted.
I did actually die to the mines the first time, but that's only because I was running up and I did a stealth takedown, and it made Snake like literally made Sam Freudian slip, or like wishful thinking, I guess.
Yeah.
It made Sam like lurch forward 3 feet and step on the mine.
Nice.
So then I was like, okay, I'll give him a little more space when I do stealth takedowns.
Yeah, like the mines got me once because I wasn't looking.
And then this part has mines again. That which is, I don't know what the solution to this is, but there's a lot of mechanics like that in this game where it's like you're only gonna have to pay attention to this once for one section every few levels. But it's not going to be interesting to deal with. You are just going to be punished for forgetting it's a mechanic the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you said with the mine. Like the first time, the mine will kill you, and then you will pay attention. You will know to look for mines for the rest of the level, and you're not going to die to another mine, and it's not going to change your gameplay really.
Yeah.
In a meaningful way.
And like that kind of thing was fine in the original Splinter Cells because that was almost the gameplay. The gameplay was keeping all of that shit in mind. Like, that was kind of the fun of it. Mm-hmm. And obviously, as a result, there were much more of those things.
Yeah.
And like, this one, it feels like it's still trying to kind of hit those notes in a way. Mm. But this isn't Splinter Cell anymore. Like, it has some of the trappings, but this is not the methodical, like, I will literally sit here for 3 minutes watching the guard movements and then slowly slip through.
And neither was Conviction. This isn't a new thing.
Conviction was better.
It was an action game, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like, it was basically Panther mode all the time.
Because Sam was angry and wanted to kill everyone.
Very upset. He was an unhappy man.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of felt more like Max Payne, that Sam Fisher.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I'm coming a little bit more towards your position during this part of the game because they are so constantly forcing this tone of like balls to the wall action that makes me play carelessly and makes me not really want to pay attention to those nuances, like using my gadgets to detect traps and that kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, I will just let myself fall for it the first time and then pay attention for that one section and then immediately drop my guard again because
it won't come up again.
Well, and because the game is always telling me, like, go, 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 there's a bomb you have to defuse, there's a guy you have to catch, etc., etc. Like, the pace of the game seems at odds with that kind of, like, methodical, meticulous spy mentality.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
It does feel like a Bourne thing in a lot of ways. Where it's just, like, I'm running through hallways quickly and, like, getting into brief gunfights and then fist fights and that kind of thing.
The Bourne inadequacy.
Yeah.
So, after we save Pittsburgh from nerve gas bombs.
Well, we save it, but we don't end up actually getting anything out of it because some cop shoots.
Oh
yeah, that cop.
This was a funny part. Like, see, this is what the game needs to leverage more. Is like, okay, just admit that the game is stupid at this point.
Yes.
Because it is stupid at this point. Like the first third, I was like kind of on board, and now with the drone strikes and that kind of thing, like they've jumped the shark so much that you just gotta stop trying. Mm-hmm. Embrace that it is stupid and make it all about the character dynamics. Just like lean really hard into like Charlie being a douchebag that gets on Briggs's nerves all the time and that kind of thing.
Sam being a hard ass that doesn't actually know what he's doing.
Yeah, and Grim like undercutting him at every turn because she's actually she's kind of the one person who's competent in this whole thing.
Yeah, Grim is just Sam's mom.
Basically. Like, if they almost went, like, full soap opera with it, then it would actually be more compelling in a weird way.
I would be way more on board with that. Because, like, as is right now, it feels like,
so you want
this is going to be a reference...
Here?
This is going to be a reference nobody's going to get except us, but it's like the Alex Morena's, like spy thriller.
Okay.
Where it's like, bro, this is all totally legit.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Can you fuck... Like, this is the game that he would be telling me about, and he'd be like, dude, the story is amazing. And I'd just be like, cool.
Yeah, and it's weird because, go back and listen to how I was talking about it during last week. Like, I think it had the potential, like, it was laying down the groundwork to do something very competent. But it has just, like, so thoroughly, like, cast away those cards at this point that they just need to, like, lean into the complete opposite direction of this.
So you go to capture an engineer, and he takes the hostage, and then a cop just decides to shoot him and arrest Sam.
Yeah, and he's just like, he thinks that Sam and this guy are in cahoots, even though Sam is just, it's so weird to see him standing in this subway station, just fully kitted out, and he's just like,
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, he rolls his eyes at the cop as he's getting arrested because he's like, you just wasted $10 million of government resources.
And then you get back on the plane, and Charlie and Briggs are making fun of him for getting arrested.
Yeah, plus, like, everyone idolizes the cop now because he's, like, the poster child for, like, having stopped this bomb attempt.
Yeah.
Like, I was just a guy in the right place at the right time.
Also, Sam is just... Like, this is a man who can get in and out of Iran without getting caught. And then he gets caught.
Well, he's not going to shoot a cop is what it boils down to.
I feel like you can't say Sam didn't get caught.
Yeah.
It's not like he got in and out like a ghost whisper here.
It's not that Sam hasn't been caught up until this point, it's just that Sam usually catches back. And here he can't because the man is a government employee. And that leads us to the Guantanamo Bay detention facility.
Yeah, we find out that Nuri, the guy who hires mercenaries, was lying to get us to go fight Iran.
Yep.
Yeah, which this whole part...
It's just...
This whole part is just cleanup. It's just fucking cleanup.
I loved this mission. I thought was one of the best so far in the game.
I hated it.
Really?
I really hated it because there's so many points we're getting caught. We'll just, go back. And then I have to listen to that fucking soccer conversation again. And this is where I just shoved it down to rookie. And as soon as I was past it, just put it back to realistic because I was just so fucking done.
And here you get to see where Sam goes too far again. And he starts torturing people. Because that's like what he does.
Yeah, this whole part seems like it is just... it biting Sam in the ass that he's not actually covering his tracks very well, or like he's not tying up loose ends. Like, why was Nuri put in a position where he was able to relay unreliable information to the government that they would then act upon and that kind of thing? Like, why is he?
It's because he didn't like kill him or put him on the fucking airplane like Briggs suggested. Yeah, it was correct to do.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Like right when you let Nuri go, everyone's like, shouldn't we just hold on to him? Like, what do we gain by having him? He's like, he's more useful out there than he is in here. And it's like, okay,
and Cody's like, what about me?
Can you explain to me how that is the case? Because I don't understand what Nuri could have or did do.
Don't question me. I'm the boss. I know what I'm doing. I've been on this road a million times.
I'm the Solid Snake.
And then, like Sam is such a fuck up in this game.
There should be more Metal Gear references. Like, Charlie should be playing Metal Gear.
Charlie.
He should just contact you in the middle of a mission and be like, wow, these credits are really long and boring. Is that big, boss? Or he's like telling you his interpretation of MGS2, like for the runtime of the entire mission.
That would be amazing.
I want an alternate commentary track where Charlie just talks to Sam about all this nerd shit and Sam actually plays along.
Yeah, that would be alright. That would be an angle at least.
Like, that would be fun.
So you gotta break out of Guantanamo because you decided to get impounded somehow.
Yeah, I mean, Briggs probably just pulled
his last government strings.
Yeah.
He's like, I've still got a couple friends or whatever. Which, like...
You know what? If Sam was friends with anyone on his team, this story would be a lot better.
Yeah.
But, like, the game starts by saying that he and Grimm don't get along. He alienates Briggs.
At every opportunity.
Yeah, he is constantly at Briggs' throat.
And then he just kind of belittles Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie doesn't give a shit about it all. He barely acknowledges Charlie's existence.
Is Coben his best friend?
I think so. The guy who kidnapped his daughter and, like, framed her death is the person he has the most human relationship with on the fucking airplane.
I think you guys are giving Charlie a little less credit than he deserves, though. Like, I would go as far as to say Sam's relationship with Charlie is almost that of a disappointed father. Like, he's not completely dismissing him. He wants something out of him. He just knows he's not going to get it, and
he just knows he's not going to have a high school football star for a son.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, he'll still say, like, thanks, Charlie, for, like, upgrading the firmware on my gas grenades. Like, I appreciate that. And then he just walks down the stairs and sighs.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Sam just doesn't like anyone, really. Like, he's polite when they do something for him.
Yeah.
But that's what it takes. He's not polite for politeness' sake. Someone does something incredible for him, and he's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and it's not even that he's polite so much as that it's like the absence of him threatening to fire them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. He's such a dick. He's just an asshole, and he's not a fun one like Max Payne.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing about Max was that he was an asshole, but he was still human.
And he knew it.
And he knew it, and so he did things that would actively fuck him up because that was who he was. Sam is just kind of like your shitty manager at your dumb minimum wage job. He just threatens you, and when he isn't threatening you, he's tolerating your existence.
Max Payne is like the guy who's like, I'm gonna feel this in the morning.
While he's at work, yeah.
And drinking, and then Sam's like, woo, you're gonna drink all these, and then he doesn't anticipate a hangover.
Kind of, yeah. And like Nuri is his hangover that he didn't see coming.
Yeah, and like everyone was like, dude, you shouldn't drink.
But he doesn't fight a hangover with like a glass of raw eggs and milk or whatever. He fights a hangover by like putting a folding chair on somebody's wrists and stomping on it while saying, "Tell me what you know."
And threatening them with handcuffs somehow. I didn't really get that.
I think he was saying that he was going to basically get under his chin with it until it pierced it,
Like
and then
lift him up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, meat hook him with some handcuffs. It looks kind of like his knife that, that Nadik comments on.
Sadiq.
They're all running together now because we've chased about 14 people in this game so far, and most of them are MI6.
Yeah.
They should just shut down the British government.
That's what the next game's going to be about. No other country can have an intelligence community.
That would probably be the conclusion that Sam reaches based on this, because everything is so fucking one note for him. That's the other thing. They've started to try to layer in this other theme of, like, the decisions we're forced to make aren't black and white, Sam, and it's like...
They're all black. That's why. There's no white.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, like, Grim, please explain to me the gray area of using a United States government drone unauthorized to openly lay down explosive and machine gun fire in an urban area in a country where our political leanings are putting us, like, on the precarious ledge of a giant world war.
And do not forget that you are under the direct supervision of the President of the United States.
And you've already lied to her like 3 times and you're on her bad side.
Oh, hey, did you guys spare Nuri, or did you kill him?
I killed him.
What happens if you kill him?
You kill him.
Because
that's really it.
In this case, killing him's the merciful option.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I spared him. I spared him because I was like, whatever the fuck happens in here is going to be way worse than what I do in the next 3 seconds, because I don't have time to draw it out. I've got to get home.
So, Guantanamo, like, I had no idea that that's how it is. If that's how it's actually laid out, that's a pretty shitty place.
Yeah.
It's like muddy fields with trash
It's
pits.
like Camp X-Ray.
I mean, yeah, it's Camp Omega.
Yeah, Camp Omega from Metal Gear.
I mean, that's exactly what it was pastiching. Like, the thing is, like, the thing I appreciated in a weird way, looking at, Guantanamo Bay, was the weird punishments that didn't have an immediate, like, sense to them, or, like, maybe you thought they were just in holding cells, but the guys who were in the cages, like... That might have just looked like they were being held, but that was definitely a punishment because they just would not be able to stretch their legs at all.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a fucking terrible torture.
Also, the welding goggles and headphones.
Oh, yeah. So you can't see or... Like, you can barely hear the screams of people, which I'm pretty sure is by design.
Yeah.
And you can, like, just barely see in the sun.
Yeah. Wait, there's no sun.
I mean...
He's talking about because you're wearing welding goggles. It would be extremely hard to see even in daylight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the environmental design was nice. Like, they put some good touches into it, but you barely have time to look at it because, once again, it's just like, oh, everyone knows you're missing because the power just went back on. And gotta run to the beach and get out of here.
Go.
Did you guys continue playing after getting to the boat?
I mean, I went through the briefing. That's how we said we would do it. Just go until the next time you save.
I decided to just, for clarity's sake, to just keep going through the defense mission.
Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I definitely did that. I forgot about that.
I took that as being kind of part of Guantanamo, because we're not even back on the plane. This is the one, like, beacon of light in this whole play session for me. Like, I wasn't expecting them to do this. Like, they definitely, like, buck the kind of the rote structure that the game has established. And now it's, like, much more of a direct conflict between the fourth echelon and the engineers.
Yeah. This one was just like, go ham, kill some dudes.
Yeah, this one, I like this mission. It was simple. You know, it was fun.
And I like the cutscene at the end.
Yeah.
You find out you've been hacked.
Yes.
You got back hacked.
Yep. Because Charlie found he basically found like a big stockpile of dummy data about the engineers, which then opened up a security hole. Yeah. And I don't know. It was kind of cool because then, like, the way they show the engineers, like, I don't know, their computer command, when you're seeing their Charlie equivalents, like, it feels very mirrored. It's just like, okay, now we're seeing what the fourth echelon does from the other side. And they're just, like, laughing maniacally while they spy on 4E.
Yeah, I really like the way they cut in the camera feeds, like, that half-second flash, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
that was cool.
It was very much like the way they handled the symptoms of the nerve gas. Like, they're good at those slow burns when they give it time, but this game never seems to want to give it enough time to slow burn anything.
Like, I don't remember the ending of this game, which, in retrospect, may not be a good thing. Hopefully it continues, and maybe this is just the dark middle chapter of the quality as well as the game.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this literal last bit is a sign of things to come, because I think if they continue to, like, play on your expectations, because the game is so, like, very firmly delineated, everything has such a rigid structure, even down to the very premise where it's like, we will commit one act of terrorism per week. Like, the fucking game is like a work schedule at the end of it.
Yeah.
So if we're, like, on the way to intercepting an engineer attack, and then it's just like, you're literally, like, in the loading screen for the mission, and all of a sudden it jerks out, and it's like, oh, the fucking plane just got hit. They're boarding Paladin while we're trying to fly to the next level.
Yeah, like XCOM 2 shit.
Do stuff like that. That would be a way to salvage this in some respect, I think, but it's...
I just hope it goes full near, and we find out that we were killing actual people all along.
Yeah, it's...
Not just Middle East.
It's on rough waters right now, if you ask me.
It's such a jingoistic fucking game.
Yeah.
I don't even feel particularly bad for making that joke.
I want them, like, I wish there was some sense of irony in the, like, oh, our decisions aren't black and white and that kind of thing, because, like, that's such an overdone theme, and for them to attempt to do it in this game and handle it so poorly feels like it should be played as a joke. Like, there should be something about some, like, bit where Charlie is just like, is it though?
Yeah.
But he's not, because he knows he'll get slapped if he says that.
We were talking about Spec Ops: The Line earlier. I want to play a bad military game, like double book or whatever, where we play through Splinter Cell Blacklist and then immediately through Spec Ops: The Line. Just
like a double feature?
Yeah. I'm not saying, like, game club wise. I mean, we literally just sit down and go through both these games.
We just have a really long day.
Yeah.
I tried to play
Extra Life, maybe
a second time. Couldn't do it.
We're not married to the adventure game idea.
Yeah, we've got plenty of options for sure.
I do have a better adventure game idea though. If you play
better than I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yes.
Oh, I mean that's a tall order.
I was thinking we would just stab ourselves in the eyes for 24 hours. Not Harvester. It's a really weird game. It's fun.
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
it would be a good way to continue the pedigree, because I Have No Mouth was pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, just not fun.
Yeah.
If you guys played Hatoful Boyfriend.
That's not even we're not doing that for an extra live stream.
Okay.
That is, you hit enter until you...
If you hold control, you don't even have to hit enter.
I mean, yeah, that's a really great way we could get through Hatoful Boyfriend really quickly.
Yeah, we're not doing that. what we are doing is playing through the end of this game by next week. And like you said, Greyson, April 2nd?
April 2nd.
April 2nd, Europa Universalis 4 stream, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on twitch.tv/sharewarepod. That'll do it for another episode of Shareware. If you'd like to contribute your perspective to the upcoming Game Club segment or respond to any other topics, feel free to send us an email at sharewarepodcast@gmail.com, tweet at sharewarepod, or check out the Shareware Podcast YouTube and Facebook pages. This has been Josh.
Brett?
Grayson.
Have a good one.
I didn't say and.
3, 4. Hey! 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 Hey!
Oh, I get it. Doo-doo.
That's my remix.
Some drum and bass X-Files. There's probably gotta be some good X-Files remixes out there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Did your parents ever watch Top Gun obsessively?
No.
Oh.
I've never seen any of Top Gun.
My dad
Hey there, bud.
would like rent it every other week and watch Top Gun.
Just buy the fucking movie at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Probably spent like $100 on Top
No,
Gun.
it was $1 a night.
Yeah, every other weekend. For how long?
Like a year.
Okay, that's still probably like
Like
30
$26
bucks. Or
yeah.
Yeah, that's enough to buy the fucking movie, no matter when it was.
And
And
some
some Top Gun VHS around the house. Didn't want his kids finding his secret Top Gun stash.
Okay.
I remember when I was like 12, it was when I was living with my dad. I found my dad's Girls Gone Wild DVD, but I didn't really get it. Like, I didn't know how to jerk off. And so I was just like, I asked my sister if she wanted to watch it with me.
What did she say?
She was like, no, you can go watch that yourself. And I was like, okay. And I watched it for like 15 minutes. I'm like,
Why don't they put their shirts back on? It looks cold.
it looked boring. So I
All
put it
this
back.
for a hat?
Like, it was just so dull. I didn't like it at all.
Man, I feel like they specifically designed the Girls Gone Wild ads to be so much louder than everything that comes before or
Oh, yeah.
after
I've
them.
never seen one.
To like get you in trouble for watching TV at a certain time of night.
Mhm.
Because like I would be watching like Comedy Central at like 3 in the morning
Yep.
on a weekend, and like mine is not even remotely in the realm of sex whatsoever, and all of a sudden it's just like big bouncing boobs or whatever the fuck comes over the TV, and I'm like
Jiggling Jubilees!
I'm like cranking it down like 30 times. I'm like, God damn, what the fuck is that? And I like hear somebody like I hear the floor creaking upstairs, like,
Oh.
and then it stops. I'm like, okay.
What I did is I got these really uncomfortable Sony headphone or earphones, and like they dug into your ear, but they also had a band around your head,
Oh.
and I would and they were so short that I had to just be right up next to the TV,
So
and
then
that's
you-
how I would do it.
Your dad walks in on you with your face 3 inches from TV tits with your earbuds on.
Pretty much.
Perfect.
Ugh.